Hi, everyone. Daniel here again, but to talk about sealing as a service. So we recently did an analysis to look at just how much hardware is locked in the network. And what we found was if we look at all of the different tiers of SPs and how much hardware has been contributed to the network up to date, there's around $2.5 billion worth of hardware locked into the Filecoin network. And a large portion of that hardware is made up of compute. So compute app CapEx makes up a large portion of total hardware CapEx. And so this means that it can be very difficult for existing SPs to increase their ceiling rate. It's difficult for new SPs to onboard to the network. And it's actually also difficult for SPs that have spare ceiling capacity to make use of that spare ceiling capacity. The hardware is expensive and it can be difficult to access. So sealing as a service aims to accelerate the onboarding of data to the network by, for the first time, separating compute from storage. So a storage provider does not have to do both the compute and the storing. There can be storage providers that just do the storing, and there can be storage providers that specialize in just doing the compute piece of sealing data to the network. Ultimately, with sealing as a service, we hope to create a two-sided marketplace for Filecoin compute. And so the first step of doing this is introducing sealing APIs into Lotus. If you look at this diagram, this is the new sealing as a service architecture that Lotus will be releasing in v1.17.2. And basically it allows for external sealing as a service or a snark as a service to connect to Lotus and allow for someone to do PC1 or PC2 or C2 or all of those processes outside of Lotus for the first time. So if we look at the roadmap here, where we are right now is in this alpha phase. What we've done up until now is we've worked with the Lotus team, we've worked with sealing as a service providers, and we've really tried to align on a design for these APIs that would work as a generic interface for all sealing as a service providers. We then worked with Lotus to actually get that implemented. And so now we're moving into this public alpha phase where we hope to have a sealing as a service software that will integrate with those new Lotus APIs. And so we're creating a sidecar and a CLI that we hope to open up to the public in the next few weeks. We're going to be creating a sealing as a service working group that will pilot sealing as a service with a small group of SPs. We also want to create a public page for sealing as a service that will allow for all parties in the ecosystem to track the work that's being done there. Once we feel like we have a successful pilot in place and we've figured out all the different adjustments that need to be made to either the APIs or the sealing software itself, we plan on moving to GA and then opening it up to the sealing as a service waitlist that we've created. So please sign up for this sealing as a service waitlist. We plan to create a manual two-sided marketplace to start with the people that have signed up, but then over the course of the next year, we plan to grow that marketplace and ideally automate a number of the processes for connecting sealing as a service users that have that would like to increase their sealing rate with sealing as a service providers that have spare compute. So if you're interested in being a user provider, please definitely sign up for the sealing as a service waitlist. We plan to reach out to every single person that signs up for the waitlist. If you're interested in increasing your sealing rate, if you have spare sealing capacity, sign up and we'll reach out over the next couple of months to keep you updated on any developments to the software, any upcoming business opportunities, and really ultimately to connect you into the two-sided marketplace that we'll create for this sealing as a service offering. Thank you.